right, let's stay with the story, get you some analysis now with Sandile Swana, who is a political analyst and joins us via our video link. Sandile, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's been a while since we've had a briefing from the EFF, and there's been so much, shall we say, upheaval in the party, hasn't there, since the May elections?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle, and to your viewers. Yes, I think obviously the May 2024 elections were a political tsunami for the African National Congress, Inkatha Freedom Party, and the EFF, those three in particular. So it is clear that Malema and company had to go into specific places, more especially KZN, to check how the damage came about and what needs to be done to stem further damage.
Did you see a different Julius Malema at this briefing this afternoon, Sandile?
Yes, I may be mistaken, but for some reason, I thought there would be some form of gloating about defeating the DA, but I think he spoke about things more in a more matter-of-fact fashion than about gloating and boasting. And secondly, I think the explanations that he has given about how things have gone in Rustenburg, in the Northwest, also in KZN, and how the local leadership and the structures have given an account of themselves, I think you are seeing a focused, practical, and pragmatic Malema on the screen now.
You're talking about the results in the Tshwane Council yesterday, where the DA's Celia Brink, the former mayor, came second to Dr. Nasipi Moya. I'm
talking about that, and the point of it is that you'll remember that the GNU and the DA in particular, as well as Business Leadership South Africa, have a policy of excluding the EFF. But what has happened in Gauteng and also in Tshwane is that instead of the EFF being excluded, it is the DA that has actually been excluded, where the DA and its allies have labeled the EFF enemy number one. Right now, it appears that the Gauteng DA has become enemy number one.
Certainly. And he did talk about that, right? He did say there is a concerted effort and an outright plan to try and not only sideline the EFF, but to try and shut them out completely. Does the party, in your opinion, Sandile, especially as we build up to the local government elections in 2026, does the party, does Julius Malema need to find a way, whatever that might be, to pivot somewhat before we get to those elections?
I think he is pivoting. I think, for instance, the short answer is yes, and I think he is pivoting. Obviously, there is a document that they've prepared, this organizational redesign, the reconstitution of the youth structures. All those things are aims, I think they seek to repackage the EFF for the future.
Very interesting what he had to say about the branches that were disqualified for not meeting the 10% threshold. The decision now to rather take it to 100 votes per branch, 100 and above. And for those branches, come the December conference of the EFF, for those branch members to then attend the conference as observers. He says there must be some price to pay for branches that are not performing.
Yes. This idea that Malema has brought forward is very relevant and very necessary. In the sense that, and you'll forgive me for my language, that I think what has happened in the recent past, some of these so-called black liberation organizations and things like that, there's so much fraud, bogus branches that are being formed, fake branches and all that. So this thing that Malema is putting in place also is a check and a balance, as well as an audit, to say a branch must be a real branch.
Yeah, certainly also just moving away from the issue of the conference in December, certainly some strong sentiments around the EFF and its stance on the Israel-Gaza war and Israel's invasion of Gaza. He says government must cut all diplomatic ties with Israel, and in fact, the EFF will be lobbying government to do all that. But he takes it a step further, doesn't he? He's calling on all sectors to essentially do the same, to cut all diplomatic and other ties with Israel. Will that gain any traction, do you think?
Well, it will gain traction on the left. Remember that Malema is also, to a degree, still part of the progressive caucus in parliament. In the ANC itself, you will have supporters, but a person such as Ramaphosa can be in any direction. I mean, he's beholden to business, beholden to the DA, and so on and so forth. But the strategy that Malema is actually proposing is consistent with the strategy of Oliver Tambo and Thabo Mbeki when they were fighting apartheid.
Mm-hmm. Sandile Swana, as we wrap up our discussion, I think the briefing is still underway in Johannesburg, Ngandi Square. Is there anything else that stood out for you in what was an incredibly wide-ranging address by Julius Malema?
Not really. I think the one about the municipalities and the coalitions and so on, it's in place. But what is of interest is the documents that are going to come out. And we want to see the quality of those documents. And that will be a sign of the strength of the EFF, whether it is still as strong as it used to be when we look at the quality of those documents.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. Sandile Swana, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. Political analyst joining us there. You can see that the EFF's briefing is still underway. We were just bringing you live pictures a moment ago.